Good morning, Mrs. Kowalski.
Thank you.
It has been 25 years since the Federation of British Columbia Woodlot Associations was formed in 1988, and through the years has seen considerable growth. The characteristics and values of the individuals who started with the program are not that different to licensees today, dedicated to excellence in forest management. In 2006, Julia Kowalski, a mother, school teacher, and active church member, found herself in a position of conflict after her husband Cliff Kowalski passed away from pancreatic cancer. What to do with Woodlot license number 1923? Quietly, listening to her husband's encouraging words for her before his death, and her own inner voice, Julia Kowalski entered into a new phase of life, and was now inside the fence of the woodlot looking out instead of in. And now, 6 years later, is continuing the dream she and Cliff shared together.
Just a natural thing. Even when I was a kid, I was used to love to go and muck around in the dirt, plant tomatoes with my father and fiddle around in the greenhouse and then walk up the fields and pick mushrooms. Not magic ones, mind you. Just things like that. I love the outdoors. It does. And I just feel so grateful in a way that, it's a huge piece of land to look after. It makes you quite humble to realize that there's something greater out there. Somebody has to be in control. And I need to look after it and keep it for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren and for the generations to come.
Well, Cliff, Julia's Imagine told you that Cliff was the one that looked after all that stuff, and Stephen and his siblings, excuse me, were also involved. Cliff would have them out there. And Julia just did her thing back home. And then when Cliff died, I think there was a time when she thought, why would I want to take this on?
When I first got the woodlot, what was Cliff's vision and my vision for the woodlot? Probably in the first place it was more his vision than my vision, because with him being a professional forester, he had an idea of what he wanted to do. I just kind of went along for the ride, so to speak, things like that. And I think also probably for Cliff it was a place where he could practice his own skills. Out of the confines of whether it was a company or whatever, he could do some experimenting and see how things worked and change it if necessary. And possibly also an escape. Just a place to go and escape and out in up the highway. And I also thought it was a neat place for the children, for our children to go. So they could learn skills and they could be with their dad and learn how safety and just be out in the fresh air, and when there weren't all the things like TV, so many of those electronic games then. But I think it was good for them to work with their father and learn those kind of things.
Yeah, after Cliff died, it was a real struggle. Cliff, essentially, he was the forester. He was the one that ran that woodlot. But being a family legacy, there was no way that Julia was going to let it go. So she gritted her teeth and got down and studied, and she was, yeah, it was a tough row to hoe for her because she did not have a forestry background. That kind of stuff doesn't rub off on you unless you're out there getting your fingernails dirty, you know. So it was an uphill struggle.
You know, how do I know what to do, and who do I ask? Because yes, I had some connections, and I was very fortunate that with probably being within a small community that Cliff had all those connections, and they were more or less family connections as well, right? With being a small community. But if ever I know towards the end, and I said, well, what am I going to do? And Cliff would say, he said, you know what to do. He said, think about it. So that was his advice to me. Think about it. You'll know what to do. And often if I sat down and thought about it, I did know what to do.
Well, for the first little bit, like it was fun to go out and have somewhere out in the bush where you could hang out, learn how to shoot a gun, how to chop trees down. Afterwards, after Dad died, it started to become more of a business aspect. It's Mom's woodlot, but I tend to do the dirty work. I go out and recon the area and talk with the odd person who's out there, and mainly do the saw work and that sort of stuff. So it kind of progressed from somewhere which was, we had a lot of good memories, up to somewhere where this is an investment for the future. And right after my father's passing, for a while there, it was like, why are we keeping it? Like, we can't keep it on. But as the years, as we slowly got into sync with it and figured things out, it became more of, well, this is our own little piece of forest, and we have responsibility to it, to maintain it, not just for us, but for like future generations. Also, maybe make a little bit of money on the side.
Well, besides, I really do admire her. I think she's a wonderful friend, a wonderful lady. But I think possibly part of what happened is Cliff did have a passion for woodlots. He did think it was the way to go, the small-scale sustainable forestry, the local benefit, the local input. When not so long ago, when she was talking about this, being interviewed for this and having the video about her story, she said, I don't know if I deserve this. And I said, of course you do. You persevered. And I guess that's an absolute prerequisite to be a woodlotter. Is you have to know how to persevere. And she does that. She does it very well. And she has my admiration, and I think all the rest of the people who know her here.
Well, I think one of our main goals was to make it a place of learning, an outdoor place of learning, because for children it's so better to have hands-on, to see things in progress.
We talked about the different regions of Canada, didn't we? And we talked about different areas and how in those different regions there's different weather. There's also different something else. What do the plants and trees grow in?
Different soil.
Different soils, that's right, and different weather conditions.
Does anybody know how to tell how old a tree is?
Yes.
How?
Count the rings.
You buy the ring.
Chop it down and down the ring.
That's right. Are you learning about how trees grow?
Yes.
We just
Yes,
watched a wonderful
the
video.
trunk grows out every year, right?
Coniferous.
Coniferous is the other word. Good for you. So these two are actually coniferous trees. Oh yeah, this has got green on it, and this one's got green.
They had started logging this block here and then one further down the road, as I say, before Cliff died. So he was really excited because possibly a couple of weeks before he died, they actually got a load over the scales for him, so he was quite happy about that. Well, yes, it was actually. I was incredibly overwhelmed. You had that hopeless feeling of, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. But even so, I thought, well, who do I know that I can ask? So, and people were very good. They were willing to answer the same questions over and over again. And they didn't say, well, I told you once, didn't you learn? No, they were very good.
Well, this is a ritual that we usually do when we come to the Woodlot. When we've finished at the end of the day, we always go off and fire a few rounds for Dad with his favourite gun.
I've worked well with them, yes. I mean, we have some differences of opinion sometimes, but we've always been able to manage to work it out. Yeah, so far, nobody's...
Yeah.
You know, I mean, right now, we just got notice that there's a new seismic company wanting to do seismic on the Woodlot, and I don't know them. I haven't worked with them, and even their agent, I don't know her. So that's going to be a whole new ball of wax. We have to get to know each other and see how we work. Well, in the background, this is one of the pump jacks. Thank you. And that's the newest one that's been on. But as I say, it's not on the Woodlot. But when they had to put it on, they did the negotiation. That was when Cliff was alive. So because they had to use the access road from the Woodlot to get into here.
Yeah. There's about, 5 or 6, I guess, pump jacks. Oh, all right. Yeah. I must enunciate. There's about 5 or 6 pump jacks on the Woodlot, and a few facilities, a power station, and then there's the Alliance pipeline further up. This whole area was fairly heavily developed in oil and gas. The high-grade roads, the oil sites, pipelines, pretty much everything was already here when we took over tenure of the Woodlot. So most of our negotiations, like for example, road access is, you want to keep using the roads on our Woodlot? Fine, you maintain them. So it works out pretty good because we do not have a lot of heavy equipment personally. So they keep the roads maintained, we get access, they get to access to their well sites, and other than the few little bit of confusion about some pipelines and timber rights or ownership of the Woodlot, but cleared that up and everything's hunky-dory for the most part.
Well, Julie is very involved with her church and involved with the community, with the school. The family, the Kowalski family, has also always been very socially active. Great big get-togethers at their place.
She's a treasure to me.
Absolutely. I remember the first time I met Julia was at the church here, of course, and she had a whole bunch of teenage girls. One of them was my own daughter playing guitars for the church. It was a great youth group in those years. And she had young children of her own. Absolutely, gave a lot of herself to the young children. It was wonderful.
Well, and I think Julia also helps out with St. Luke's, doesn't she, once in a while? When
Yes, she does.
Stuck for
down
the
in
United
Taylor,
Church
yeah.
and Taylor as well.
So
she helps out with me.
That's 4 churches that she does music
and other
for.
churches.
And other ones too. And if there's somebody who has passed away or something, they want something very special played, they generally come to Julia, and she never turns them down. So beautifully, because I don't think Julia jumps into anything without knowing it's the waters and what the depth is. And I think that she's so very organized that she just takes it under her wing. and she's got it all figured out, and she knows what she's doing. And that's Julia. It just sort of sums her up. She can do and will do just about anything and everything.
And in between, she's a teacher.
She's a school teacher.
I'm still not sure how she manages the woodlot, but she does. Yes. Everything just takes it all in stride.
What did I think that Julia should do? Should she carry on? At first, I thought no. I mean, this is sentimentality, but she's done very well. And with Stephen helping, I think it's been a success. They know what they're doing.
I think there was a time when she thought, why would I want to take this on? But she did. And she's done it first class.
I feel any challenge now, I feel that I can handle. And people are only too willing to help. Hopefully, I will keep it for a long time, and I just hope that the children would like to carry it on. It'd probably be left to Stephen. But, I mean, that's their choice. Yeah, and for the grandchildren too. I'm happy that I could continue a dream. And that's what it is. It was a dream. Anyway, it was something that Cliff was dear to his heart. And yes, and dear to my heart, but it was his dream. And the fact that I was able to do what I could do to keep that dream alive. So, when I retire from teaching and have the time, I am thinking of writing a book on woodlots and giving it the title of Woodlots for Widows and Dummies.
As the Federation has grown through the years, so too have the challenges and complications that come along with that growth. But through the diligence and commitment of all the volunteers and woodlot licensees, the Federation of British Columbia Woodlot Association's success by far outshine any areas of those challenges. Julia Kowalski is one of those who fully represent what it is to be a woodlot licensee. Combined with her love of the forest, along with her teaching, Julia Kowalski shines a bright light for those generations that choose to be part of the Woodlot program.